So, if you're a Final Fantasy fan like I am, you might have tried to do some self-imposed challenges to make the game a little bit more difficult. Like if you did an Aeon only run in Final Fantasy X, or a no sphere grid run, or the mere thought of playing Final Fantasy XIII for others. But I tried doing something new which I haven't seen anywhere else. I'll try to beat the main story using only one character, Vaan, since he's the one you start with. The rules of the challenge are: only use Vaan to fight, if guests are in the party, kill them, and 3, no Dustia farming or going for the Satan Brat, that bullshit fucking bow. Now, ignoring the useless plot, like the good little fanboys that we are, we'll jump right into our little twink stealing stuff from the rats in the sewers. Kinda sounds similar to how my dad adopted me. We go on a fetch quest for our good friend the furry, and head out to the Ester Sand to fight a lot of wolves and cacti. Now, the keen-eyed of you might have noticed that we still have not chosen any license boards for us to use, and that's mostly because I'm an indecisive little freak with commitment issues who's too afraid to choose a permanent name for their RPG character. I will forever find it funny that they gave these goddamn holes buttholes. Once we grind to level 4, we do the fetch quest and skip over the plot as it's not important to the story, and go talk to some old guy who treats the entire underground as his own personal Gossip Girl TV show. He tells us something to the effect of, "Bring me crack rock and I'll show you where to find treasure, little twink boy." So we head out to the Giza Plains and run into Penelo, our very first party member that does not need to be here, so we'll do what every good friend does. Stab them in the face with a smile. Once we gathered all of the crack pebbles for this one kid, he combines it into one big crack rock for our pal Old Alan, and we bring it over to him. He tells us how to sneak our little femboy booty past the guards, and here's how.
Hey, Buckethead!
Once we find the treasure, we meet up with the leading man and his eye candy Fran. We end up having to run through the sewers once again, with the leading man telling us about gambits while he sits on the bench like a good little bitch. Also, we finally chose the license board, which is the red mage one, which has a lot of magic, both offensive with dark and other AoE spells, and defensive with healing and protect. Not to mention all the shield options early on, best possible choice for a self-sustaining character for this kind of challenge. Going through the sewers once again was a bit annoying, but we did find Amalia, the resistance leader. Now, she joins the party as a guest, so I can't put her little non-existent ass on the bench like I did with the leading man, so like the idiot I am, I try to kill her instead of putting her gambits to self-attack. But once we do get the resistance leader out of there, we continue all the way to the boss area where we fight a magical sewer fire horse monster. Like what? What is Ponita doing in the sewers of Rabanaster? Anyway, the horse kicks our head in and gets us knocked out with the greatest of ease. So we do what any good Final Fantasy fan would do when they can't overcome an obstacle. Over-level! Once we reached level 15, we went to show this My Little Pony wannabe who the boss really is by out of our home. Of course, we got captured moments later by the Empire, but that's besides the point. We get our cute little butts dragged to the prison, but we refuse to be anyone's bitch and fight to escape this dungeon. On our way out, we find the Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca, or our twin, as you can clearly see the resemblance. We just couldn't help ourselves and needed to hug our long-lost brother so hard that we teleported into the depths of Nalbina, where we have to somehow get out. Now, in this dungeon there are indefinitely spawning enemies, so we did as we usually do and our panties got wet at the mere thought of level grinding, and we did just so until level 22. Once we squashed the big boss spider, we head back to Rabanaster where we split up with the gang only to reunite after I show Old Alan the new crack rock I got. I rounded up the crew and got to the flying city of Buzurba to rescue Penelo, the useless little shit who got kidnapped. Once we get there, the game introduces the other sexy little twink of the game, Lamont. With his tiny little ass in tow, we go and head into the mines where Penelo is kept. Of course, we make sure that Lamont commit seppuku every chance he gets, while we make our way to the end of the caves. Once there, we meet Balfir's old friends, who can't resist me and my incredible charm, so they try to gangbang me, at which point I defend myself by spewing my dark discharge at them until they faint. When we get out, we find out Lamont is actually Larsa, and that he took Penella with him as a handmaiden to tend to his every need. After that, we do the meme of Final Fantasy XII
I'm Captain Bosch von Rotzenberg of Dalmasca.
and talk to the Marcus, who sends us to Airship jail to think back on how we shot black discharge onto completely innocent bounty hunters who wanted to kill us. On the airship, we finally get our full party, which we can't use. If you ask why, I'd like to guide you to the name of this challenge, and I'd also like to recommend you go see a doctor because you might have Alzheimer's. We beat up an old man whose bones were barely being held together by duct tape, and his love for the Emperor, in a totally normal, not any kind of weird way. After beating his bony butt, we got off the ship and we had another meeting with the Marquis, but we ignored that part and kidnapped the princess. She wants our help to raid her granddaddy's tomb and steal his super treasure that was granted to him by the gods themselves, but we have to cross a desert made out of sand, well, like, whatever. It is in this tomb that we obtain our first Esper, Belias the Gigas, whom we will use as a substitute party member because, we can't use the actual party, So we're just gonna summon our own party. Haha. On exiting Grandpapa's grave, the Empire emerges with geese once more. Captain Azalas turns on us and reveals himself as a traitor and only stayed with us as long as he did so that the Empire could come get us. But we don't give up without a fight, and take the entire fleet out and escape. In Rabanaster, we focus on what's important once more, the magic stones in our pants, and one of the few people who might have some kind of knowledge about them is the Gareth, a math-scoring tribe of fighters and deep thinkers. So once we finally do make our way over there, they tell us something along the lines of, "Nah, you can't use this. This bitch be out of power. You got a charger?" They guide us further to Mount Baromeses, where we might get some more answers and power if we talk to the Grand Kiltias. Larsa joins us again on our way to Mount Baromeses, where he wants to talk to the Pope to make some peace deals for his daddy. While on our way to the actual mountain, we find a perfect spot for farming. A perfect circle of areas that constantly respawn monsters for us to farm over and over and over again. Oh, and did I mention the best part? We gain 2 license points from them for every kill. It's like a delicious banquet of XP and LP that I just can't help myself but to farm them up like the naughty little Final Fantasy fan that I am. When we hit level 41 from all the grinding, we make our way to the Galmor jungle, where surprisingly, the woods themselves are not allowing us to go through them. Fran gets pissed at this, for whatever reason, and decides it's a great time to go home. Once in Fran's home village, she tells us to go talk to her mommy. She herself can't because she made her very, very angry, and now is too afraid to show her face. We talk to the bunny babes and do another meme.
I was wondering what Yote said, about how you said the same thing 50 years ago.
Your point?
How old were you again?
Nice fun.
Surprisingly rude.
Try to grow up, please.
Henna mines await us, and we need to go there to rescue Fran's little sister. This is where we first summon Belias the Gigas to aid us in a boss fight. Saving the girl and bringing her back to the village granted us passage through the Galmor jungle, and we headed off to Mount Baromeses. We reach Mount Baromeses and talk with the Popey Pope, who talks with his lips not moving, which is weird, and he sees through closed eyelids, like, "Bro, are you made of magic?" Probably not, but I like to believe. He tells us that he knows Ash is the rightful heir to the throne, but she cannot do shit, as she ain't shit and full of cap. Also, Larsa's daddy is dead and Wayne took over and is getting ready for war, so there's that. We go to the Still Shrine of Miriam, where the people told us that our granddaddy's sword is, the sword of the king that can cut through the stone in our pants, and render it useless. But once we get there, we find out there are annoying puzzles with equipping dawn shards and killing bosses, like the magnet dude, which is a pure gimmick of a boss fight. And obtaining our second summon, Mateus. Mateus? Mamius? After we obtain the Esper, we go back outside and we see a huge cloud of smoke in the distance. We make our way back up to the Pope, only to find that the Empire has struck and invaded them with the understanding that Larsa is there and needs to be brought back home. When we get to the mountain, we find that the Pope and a lot of people of Baromeses are dead by the hands of Judge Bergen. He himself is infused by the power of manufactured Nephesite. But imagine this, when even the top tier of the Arcadian judges stand no chance against a single orphan boy from Rabanaster whom only has a little help from his summon. With all that now done, Balfir decides he needs to pay his daddy a visit all the way in Archades. God damn, why do so many people have daddy issues in this game? As I was saying, Balfir decides that he needs to see his daddy in Archades, his hometown. But the problem is that it's on the other side of the fucking world, and because we are wanted criminals, we can't go by air or ship, so you have to walk. Yeah, walk all that fucking way.
What? All that way?
So instead of going all the way back down the mountain and walking all the distance across the Osmone Plains and the Giza Plains, we teleported to Nalbina and went to the High Waste from there to be on our merry way to Archades. Honestly, nothing happened at the High Waste. I literally ran through that place. Now, this is where I run into a bit of a wall. In the second jungle, the Silica Wood, I'm fighting an optional boss, you know, for shits and giggles. But the boss is a bomb, and he is a bitch. Constantly calling for smaller mobs and healing like 5 times. With Renew, dude is going to full health in one move. I couldn't summon Belias, the Gigas, versus this dude because, you know, Belias uses fire, this guy is a bomb, he's literally just going to heal even more. So Mateus it was. But she's more a supporting summon and doesn't deal as much damage. So there I was, running out of mana and getting it back. I'm not sure how to deal with this as my best AoE spell is Dark, and this dude just keeps healing to full. Until for some reason he just stops, and I bash him over the head with my mace. Now, because I beat this optional boss, I got access to the Nabria's Deadlands, and there is one enemy there in particular, which is very useful for me, and that's the Banshee, and here's why. The Black Mask. The Black Mask is a very strong headpiece for my build, as I need the magic power. It also absorbs Dark Element, which heals me. It's just so far ahead of my current armor that I couldn't pass up on it. It has a 1% drop rate, without a chain, but a whole 7% when you build it up. But since I only had one Banshee to farm, I had to kill that single Banshee over and over and over again to build that chain up like crazy. Once we do get the Black Mask, we continue our journey with the pack of useless characters in tow, since we obviously only need one to beat the game. We blazed through the Fallen Coast as quickly as possible and went to the Icha Uplands. We found the gate crystal for the uplands and a rare thing happened. A thought occurred in my brain. We use one of our rare teleport stones and go back to the Osmond plane and head off into the Zartanan caverns. I just so happen to know that there is another Esper down deep in the deep dark. During the fight, I had Mateos out, mostly to heal me while I do all of the AoE damage to the boss and his little mobs. Now unfortunately Mateos dies all of a sudden. So, there I am, trying to survive while this dude and his harem of zombie hoes are barraging me down and I get hit with a stop. So not only are they outnumbering me, but they are also now completely taking advantage of me and my innocent twink butt. So there I am, dead, but not out. My other party members go out to try and run away and, same as me, die. However, Balfir and Franz survive and manage to escape, where we rest Vaan and brought him back up to speed. We rest everyone else as well, just to make sure that we can run away again if something went wrong. Of course, the boss was healed all the way back up to full, but that didn't stop me. This time, I did my best to keep Mateos alive while she dealt with the mobs with the AoE damage that she has, and we managed to beat this little flyboy and obtain Aldromech. And now with that summon under our belt, I feel a lot more confident going forward to the Icha uplands. Now, going through the cave that leads to Archades was easy. The boss fight right after it was also easy, but it was just plain confusing. All we had to do was, send rotten vegetables to Jesus? We also needed to convince a ghost that he's dead, like really dead, like a ghost dead. So we had to kill him to convince this undead guy that he's dead. See? He's big brain. You know, I just wonder how the capital city has not noticed that they have issues with the undead and vegetables at the same time, at the same place. Their goddamn basement. Whatever the cause may be, we make it up to the slums of the big boy city, Archades, where the entitled idiots fall and the tricky smart fucks rise from. Our journey is quickly put on a halt, as there are guards who just say no to us going to the capital. Like, no, you don't got ID, you don't have this, you don't have that. You no go capital, no go. Fortunately for everyone, Balfir's old friend Jules is there to help us out. He tells us to start a fight between two bums, and to watch as the guards go to bet and cheer for those wannabe street fighters. We snuck into Archades, and let me tell you, we got the shittiest ever quest as a Final Fantasy fan. Socializing. We have to go and talk to people in order to progress, and let me tell you, finding who needs what from whom and running around like a fly without a head is boring as heck. Just imagine having to go up to random people and expect them to just tell you about their problem, and the person who can solve it is right around the corner, but you have to guess who it is. But we are super amazing and managed to do it quickly and got to the Dracula laboratories where Balfir's daddy works on a lot of weapons for the Empire. Quickly, we made our way to the top of that maze-like laboratory. We have a nice chat with Daddy Sid where we break all his little toys and we got him in the position to beat him into submission. Now, Sid is a clever man, you see, and once we defeat him, we just stand there, looking at him as he escapes and baits us to go to Giruvegan, where he too will be.
Receive a new stone for your trouble.
Your words mean nothing to me.
The reins of history back in the hands of man. I do make for Giruvegan. Give chase if you dare it.
Of course, being the dumb little shitheads that we are, we go after him there. Going through the Feywood, we made it to the Gigas who was guarding the portal stone to it. And let me tell you, we were over leveled for like 90% of this challenge. So it's no real surprise that we plowed through the enemies like a hot knife through butter. Now, this Giga's guard isn't like the other bosses so far, because he almost one-shot us with his fucking 7-hit combo. Now, thankfully, it doesn't actually one-shot us, but this motherfucker tries it again with a 6-hit combo. I swear, props to this guy, he is a true guardian. I mean, come on, he almost killed me like twice. No one has gotten that close of the main story bosses yet. Anyway, we make it past his gloriously clenched tryhard butt cheeks and enter Giruvegan. Now, there's one more issue we come across here. AIDS. Yes, everybody, it's exactly what it sounds like. All of these monsters are touching our twink booty, and just like Freddie Mercury, we were dying a lot in this stage of the game. We had no other choice but to consult the wiki page for a cure for this damn disease. So, there we are, going through the Cherobi Steppe. After searching for it for a few hours, cause even though we have the wiki page and know exactly where it is, we still need the chest to actually spawn. And we did not have it spawn for a good few hours. Nice. Once we finally have the cure for AIDS, we go back to Giruvegan and make short work of all of the monsters that made me feel like I was part of some hentai sex game. Making it to the end of Giruvegan was an easy task. What wasn't an easy task, however, was finding our way through the goddamn mega crystal in the middle of space-time that doesn't have a map, doesn't have any kind of logical way of finding our way out. But my spirit did not waver, and I forced my way to the end of it, where we fought Shemhazai, which also has AIDS on his normal attack, which is very frustrating as hell considering we had to cure it every single time. When we beat this half-horse, half-human, half-machine crossbowman, wait, isn't that one half too much? I guess that's why he hit so hard, huh? Anyway, after we enslave half-horse, half-man, half-machine person, we meet the gods who say something along the lines of, Ash, we choose you to be the next dynast queen. Here's a sword, cut our stone and claim power. But Ash wanted to know about the ghosty boy who follows Sid, Balfir's daddy, to which they proclaimed him a doo-doo pee-pee head for betraying them, because all he wants to do is bring the reins of history into man's hands.
But Vanar's an Ecurian, a being like you.
Vanar is a heretic.
So we go to the tower where the stone is, and when the gods said tower, oh, they meant tower. Like, this thing is standing out like a giant penis on Evilise. It has like 100 floors, magical realms, and tons of bosses. Like, there was a turtle boss that almost killed me, cause dude didn't wanna stop comboing off on my little twink ass, so I really panicked there a little. After a few dozen more floors, we go through a pick a color challenge, and if you ever played Mario Maker, you know what pick a door is, and this is exactly the same thing. Pick wrong color, you are banished to the corner for being a bad boy who picks wrong and should feel wrong, cause you can't pick good colors. But since I am a good boy, I managed to get all the right colors on the first try. 100% not lying, guys. Come on, believe me, please. We go up against yet another summon, and this dude is annoying as heck. Since our other summons can't damage him with their special moves, I gotta give the commands to just heal the fuck out of me like the good little heal slots that they are, while I deal with the big bad like a proper pimp daddy. But he was having none of that and killed me with an 8-hit combo, which also gave me AIDS. Luckily, I was able to put in the rest of the crew and they rezzed and healed me, and I was able to obtain yet another slave for my collection. Damn, I'm starting to feel like a Pokemon trainer. Once at the top, we finally reached the Mega Crystal that the gods wants us to use, but of course, there is Bosch's brother in there to stop us. But we give him the boot real quick and easy, only for Sid to show up with his own summon to try and take the crystal for himself. This was a bit trickier of a fight, but we managed to take down the drug bearer, and give the old man a heart attack before destroying the crystal once and for all. Unfortunately, Bosch's brother manages to escape. For now. Now, while we did destroy the crystal, Larsa's brother Vane was kinda busy awakening Bahamut, a giant flying airship that just by existing causes tornadoes to form around it, and it was hitting right for Rabanaster. Now, being the heroes that we are, we couldn't exactly let this happen to our home city and Ash's would-be kingdom. And using Balfir's amazing airship, the Strahl, we fly onto the tornado somehow cause, you know, magic. We make our way through the Bahamut, and Bosch's twin brother is still alive. This motherfucker just won't die, I swear to God, I will end this fucker myself once and for all. So we kill him, but don't kill him, because he's part of the plot, which isn't important to the story of the game as all of you already know. Finally, we fight Vayne. This little motherfucker has been a thorn in my side for so long, not to mention how the gods have manipulated him and Sid. We summon our slave to fight with us against him, and it's easy at first. But of course, that was only phase 1 of this dude. This is a Final Fantasy game, hello! Of course he has more phases. So he uses some crazy ass drugs and gets instantly ripped as fuck. And now mentally controls like 12 swords or something, and honestly I have no idea how this fight goes since Vayne is like immune half the time and I can only hit swords and they are hard to hit, dude. And for the very end, there's Ultra Giga Megatron Vayne form that literally takes the ship apart to make a robot out of this dude. He doesn't even have an HP bar or anything. He circles you like a vulture that tries to devour you like a tiny little rat. The only tasks you have there is survive, but if you can manage to do that, you win. That's it. Vayne just dies on his own, more or less. And you can bet your sweet ass I survived. I won. The challenge is done, completed, confirmed. You can, in fact, beat the main story of this game with only one character. This challenge was super fun since I love this game despite the AIDS crisis being so frustrating, but it was super enjoyable. If there are any other fun challenges you can think of for me to try out, go ahead and tell me in the comment section below and have a great day. Bye bye!